Welcome back to another episode of NFT Catcher Podcast. We'd like to remind everybody that nothing on the show is meant as financial advice, and to please do your own research. Thank you, and enjoy the show.
Now the subject is NFTs.
They're known as non-fungible tokens, or NFTs.
NFTs are exploding in popularity.
This is a technology that will forever change the way people interact.
So it is happening whether you understand it and like it or not.
This phenomenon is moving. The digital.
You have now joined Jenny from the blockchain and Michael Keene on the NFT Catcher Podcast.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the NFT Catcher Pod with me, Jenny from the blockchain, and my co-host, Michael Keene. Today, we have a very special interview. We are interviewing Jack and Sid, co-founders of Magic Eden, the famous Solana NFT marketplace, which is also branching into ETH collections as well. Jack and Sid, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yes. So I'm always curious on people's origin stories on, how did you guys get into Web3? I mean, you've built such an amazing marketplace and platform, but where did it all begin? How did you guys meet each other? And how did you guys decide to start Magic Eden?
Well, to be honest, I've been dabbling in crypto for a while, but actually far less than my co-founder Sid. So actually, Sid has the much earlier origin story. So why do you talk about it?
So I started in crypto in 2013. So I started in the developer ecosystem. I was initially working on like Bitcoin.js, which is like the JavaScript library for Bitcoin. And then like we kind of rebranded it to CryptoCoin.js, which is like we did that with the CEO of Exodus Wallet, JP Richardson. At that time, he was not famous at all. And not like he is now. Him and I, we kind of worked on this library together. I was the organizer of like the San Francisco like Bitcoin developer meetup group. And just like kind of generally was like in the ecosystem. I was really into it. I thought the technology was really interesting, and I kind of just like worked on a little bit open source on the side. And then after that, then I basically wanted to do something in the consumer space for crypto. Try a bunch of stuff, nothing worked. Eventually, because I was in the developer ecosystem, I was like, let me build something that every developer needs. And so I started like a developer API, like a indexer, which is like, eventually like developer API for crypto became really valuable, but definitely not the company that I worked on. So the company I worked on, the API that eventually basically died. Like, we had lots of customers, but no one could pay us because nobody else could figure out how to do crypto for consumer. So like they all didn't have money. In the end, I was making $500 a month, which was like enough for ramen, but not enough for rent, which is quite challenging.
Oh my God, wait, enough for ramen, but not enough for rent. That was good.
That's a good sound.
And then, so I was like, okay, fine, like I'm going to pivot. So at that time, like, everybody had like paper wallet, brain wallet, like it was the time where like blockchain.info, like a browser wallet that was like really popular. I had this great idea. I was like, why don't we build a wallet into the Chrome, as a Chrome extension, like a browser extension. I was like, that would be really cool. Like you no matter where you are, you can always just like go and pay people Bitcoin. So we built that, and it was really cool. We kind of distributed to our developer friends. People generally all liked it. They're like, this is awesome. The experience is basically like MetaMask today, except like only Bitcoin and except like basically no users. But everyone that used it was like, this is awesome, because like back then to send money, you kind of need to like go to blockchain.info, copy and paste the address, put into a different browser, send it, right? But like when it's in the Chrome extension, you're just on the same page. It was really easy. And I would say the experience was pretty good, but definitely like no users, very few users. And then I remember thinking to myself, I was like, how would a Chrome extension wallet ever get big? This is a stupid idea. Like it would never work. So then eventually I kind of stopped working on the Chrome extension wallet. And, like in hindsight, the developer API now we have Alchemy that's worth like $9 billion. we have like consensus like MetaMask is worth like $7 billion or something, and then there's also me, and then eventually I was just like a little jaded by crypto. It was like, oh man, this is like not gonna happen. It's a libertarian dream that would never happen. So I kind of like ran out of money. Eventually I was like living on a boat for a little bit because like San Francisco was really expensive, and my friend had like a broken sailboat, and I just lived on that sailboat.
What the heck? This is the craziest story. Okay, please continue.
There's a lot of stories there. And then eventually I then like borrow like a few $1,000s from my girlfriend, and then then that allowed me to get a room. I actually never paid my girlfriend back, but it's okay, like she's my wife now, so like we're the debt is forgiven. We have the baby together, so she's forgotten about the debt. I still owe her $6,000 though. But anyway, so then I ended up at Uber. I was like one of the first engineers on Uber Eats. I then worked on machine learning. I went to Uber self-driving research lab. It was called like the ATG, the Advanced Technologies Group. I was there for a few years. Eventually I went to Facebook. So just like a very boring big tech career while watching crypto at the same time. And then maybe that connects to like Jack's story.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep mine real short because it's hard to but I did want folks to hear Sid's story. I think it's actually crazy. Like he's an OG. And he was like writing code with like Vitalik, like pre Ethereum. But yeah, so like Sid and I were high school friends. So we know each other for like over 15, 16 years. And then when he started this crazy like Bitcoin company, I was like, yeah, pretty inspired. So like, I went to like check them out and stuff. And I realized, yeah, this thing has a terrible business model. Like it's never going to work. So I kind of backed out. And I also then just had a kind of a big company career. But since that exposure to Sid's like Bitcoin company, I kind of caught I was red pilled. I was like very into crypto and like dabbling into it, buying tokens, this kind of thing. And last year I like kind of left big tech and I actually joined the crypto scene. Just wanted to jump in. Things were going crazy and there was so much innovation. So I joined FTX, the crypto exchange in Hong Kong. And that's when I basically kind of saw the future of Solana, because there was such a big Solana supporter, right? And a couple of things happened. I think in 2021, when I was at FTX, number one, like the Ethereum NFT scene was popping off. This was like people were selling stuff for like $69 million, front page New York Times. It was crazy. Two, I did see under the hood a lot of talent and capital moving to Solana. I was like, wow, this is crazy. This is like, this ecosystem is really gonna has legs, right? And number three, I was thinking about Sid, and although like his experience, also like our long friendship, and I was like, holy shit, this is NFTs. Like Sid then being in a crypto OG, but then also having all this like consumer experience at Uber and Facebook, and then me like working big tech in product management. I feel like, yeah, this is a good combination because we've been into crypto for a long time. NFTs is like a consumer use case, and Sid has been chasing the consumer use case dream for like 10 years. And then Solana seems like a very consumer friendly chain because it's very cheap. So yeah, we like, put one and one together and started Magic Eden.
Jeez, that was wild. First of all, oh my God, Sid's origin story.
Crazy story. Yeah.
Wow, I feel like you need to write a book. Like you need to write like a memoir. I would read it. I would obviously read it. Like
there's not enough content for a book, but it's probably enough content for a tweet thread.
A Twitter thread, yes.
Yeah. That guy who owns the boat that Sid was living on now works at Magic Eden, which is like a crazy...
He works at Magic Eden now?
Yeah, he's like
God.
a really amazing engineer at Magic Eden. So it's like,
say hi to Nate.
It's actually great. Yeah, everything coming full circle.
Shout out to Nate from Magic Eden.
Kept me out on the streets.
Wait, he just like found you on the streets? What?
No, I said kept me out of the streets.
Yeah,
so I knew him already, and he happened to have a broken boat for me to...
Well, that's pretty nice of him. Who runs your guys' social media? Because your guys' social game is like the best I've ever seen for an NFT company, especially like a marketplace. And like, I feel like that's the one thing, like, I mean, the way people you know, to get people's attention, social media, that's a huge thing, right? And I mean, I didn't even really know about any Solana NFT marketplaces until you guys started tweeting out a bunch. I start seeing all these tweets go viral. I'm like, what is Magic Eden? I need to look into this. So yeah, I mean, who runs your guys' social media?
Yeah, so we have an intern, like a ME intern, just following the crypto like cultural, like zeitgeist in some ways. Yeah. So his handle is Warbucks, and his name is Usman. He's like he's like really really talented.
Wait, how do you spell his handle? I need to follow him.
Yeah, WAR, so War, and the Bucks BUCKSS. Yeah, I think it's two S's or maybe three S's, or like one of them.
Oh, I see, the Magic Eden intern. Okay, Warbucks with what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 S's at the end.
Five S's, yeah. So
wow, okay.
very, very talented. Yeah, very talented. So,
and by the way, he's not an intern. He works here for
he definitely.
Okay, that's just the joke. Okay, I was like, you guys should be paying him. But
no, sure, definitely.
He's worth it.
We're like trying to prevent him from getting poached, basically.
Oh no, hopefully after this people don't try to go after him.
Now everybody listening is going to know to go try and poach him. They know exactly who he is.
I think people know. People already know.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, he's very talented. He's based in Hong Kong, and very, very funny guy. Very out. Yeah.
Where are you guys based out of?
We're currently based out of San Francisco.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's crypto, so it's very like nomadic. Yeah.
It's a remote company. Yeah. And I mean, I think a lot of crypto companies are very remote.
Most are, yeah, for sure.
And that's how, kind of like, I mean, many crypto companies kind of started or like got big during the pandemic, and and crypto itself is already so global,
Absolutely. We need to congratulate Jennifer, by the way, on her Punk Ape purchase today, 3,300 ETH. That's pretty awesome.
Oh,
Jennifer.
what?
Yeah, congratulations.
No, that was not me. Oh. Yeah, the hoodie.
Are we tossing people's wallets now? Wow, this is great. Let's do it.
You guys see the hoodie punk sale? That was crazy. That was like, what was it? $4 million or something?
4.5 million. Yep.
Yeah, that was wild. So you guys, why did you decide to then go into Ethereum and start supporting Ethereum projects on your platform, even though you've been like, okay, number one in the Solana space? Like, why did you decide to start branching out?
Yeah, I'm happy to kick that one off. And so basically, to be honest, like going cross-chain has been our plan like since day one. Actually, I was walking down memory lane the other day looking at like this original white paper that we wrote before we even had the Magic Eden name, and we already had plans to go cross-chain. I think like our mentality is we're more like a product company. We're not as deep into like consensus algorithms, like some of that kind of stuff. So for us, like we kind of see the world as, hey, NFTs have many use cases, right? Like users use these things for certain, for certain purposes. One use case is collectibles and, profile photos, PFPs being basically the big thing in collectibles. And then there are other use cases like gaming, ticketing, and so on. We kind of want to go really deep into collectibles and games. And then, we also want to support like art and photography later on. But if we think about like collectibles, that use case, right? That's a very like Solana and Ethereum kind of phenomenon. Like the other ecosystems don't really have that. Like, and we've actually surveyed a lot of the other ecosystems as well. So now that we've had some success on Sol, like serving users who really are interested in like collectibles, we feel like we understand those users really well. We understand those creators really well. And when we talk to the folks on Ethereum, actually, there is actually a high degree of overlap. There's obviously always on crypto Twitter, there's a little bit of tribalism, between the chains, but really the underlying human motivation is very much the same. And we want to, give it a crack and see like if we can also serve those users. And when we think about also like collectibles, like community is so important, right? Like, and the most community and culture is so important actually, right? And PFPs and collectibles is like a way of, expressing your culture, expressing your community in some ways. And there are so many communities on ETH that we also look up to and we also admire, right? They are, at the cutting edge of building this like internet culture. So we know there's a lot for us to learn, and we're hoping we can bring some of the things we've done on Sol to that ecosystem as well.
That's amazing. Yeah, I've definitely heard a lot of people say the future is cross-chain. Do you guys have plans for supporting other blockchains besides ETH?
We do have some other plans, but like not, I wouldn't say, right now we're focused on just trying to do a good job on ETH. We already feel like, wow, like the bar and what users expect and how to actually offer something that's truly valuable to users on ETH is already really high, and we really just want to double down and do a good job there. Yeah, I don't know, Sid, if you want to add more.
No, I think absolutely. I think one lesson I think we also we've traditionally been like, oh, let's go and just like let's try to do more. And I think like a recent theme as we kind of expand to ETH, we kind of also like we're learning a lot of lessons and we realize like let's like keep our current scope and then let's make sure that we just do a really good job in that.
Master something. Well, you guys already mastered Solana, so next up ETH. Can we talk a bit about the Magic Eden Launchpad? Okay, tell us more about that.
Yeah, happy to. So I think so as a like Launchpad, I think we started this very early when like in 2021, actually, like the first couple of months of Magic Eden. And I think actually we were probably one of the first marketplaces in the world across all of the chains to actually have this product. And the reason for that is if you think about NFT marketplaces, it's predominantly like a C2C experience, like it's end user to end user, buyer and seller, right? But actually, like creators are a very important part of the ecosystem. And a lot of the time it's the creators who are advocating for things and contacting platforms like us for requests. And we thought like, wow, how can we better serve these creators? And as we got to understand them more, we realized the launch of an NFT is one of the most like emotionally like, it's like one of the most emotionally jacked like kind of points for a creator. It's like they've been working super stressful for so many months, and in like 10 minutes or an hour, things can be make or break, right? They will be either lauded as heroes of an amazing launch, or something goes wrong and they get flooded by their community. So it's actually like very anxiety inducing, but there's also like big peaks if they do well and big troughs. So we thought, how can we just alleviate some of those pain points for creators on something that is so important? And we looked into it, I thought, like we should be able to handle some of the complexity of the technology, but also as we do more reps around like these launches, then they will understand the market better, and maybe we can also become advisors and partners to these creators. And that's how basically Launchpad was born. Yeah.
That's amazing. And then also happy 1-year anniversary. Did it already happen or is it coming up?
It just happened 10 days ago. So
oh my God, it just happened 10 days. Wow.
Our birthday is 9/17/2021 was our birthday. We started writing code, I think like on the Labor Day weekend of 2021. I think like around 9/07 or something. We didn't sleep for 10 days and then we launched 10 days later. And that's kind of the origin story.
The product was pretty big.
Busted.
We couldn't have like a search bar or anything, but we just wanted to like just
it's somewhat
out there see what happened.
What has been the scaling process like? I mean, that's such a short time frame, 1 year. How many people do you guys have in your team now?
We have like 115. Yeah.
Wow. So from what, like 2 to 115 people in
4. Yeah, we have four co-founders.
We started about 6 people. Within the first week or 2 weeks, we got to about 7 to 8 people.
Yeah.
And just friends. And then from then on, we scale from then on. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like the discussion of scaling, there are like a couple of things like scaling the product, scaling to the product, meaning like our offering, and then there's like scaling the our system to handle the amount of users and activities that we have. And one thing that might be surprising to hear is like everyone thinks that we are in an NFT bear market, and then maybe in some ways it is true, but activity is at all-time high, especially in Solana. And so like on a system level, you scale by activity, right? And then the last thing is like scaling the team. And so all 3 have been really crazy.
Yeah. I am curious to hear you guys' reflection on what you've learned building a Web3 company in the space. Also, I wanted to quote this that I read from your guys' blog, that you've listed over 12,000 collections, launched 320 collections, and have done $2 billion plus in trades with over 12 million transactions. That is so wild in just a year. What's one thing to reflect on over the past year of building Magic Eden?
Yeah, I can have one. I think my biggest reflection is the team. Like, actually, I feel like really humbled about all of the folks who decided to join us and like jump on this like really crazy thing. When we were small, like, we didn't have a lot to show for it too. Like, we were growing, but hey, it's NFTs, it's crypto, it's like completely new space, new chain. Like, there's a lot of risk, and I feel very humbled by like some of the really, really amazing talent who decided to jump in with us. A lot of them were folks who we worked with before, so I feel like they kind of they didn't know much about NFTs, but they were like kind of jumping in blind to just for us. And my reflection there is actually like, yeah, when you have a great team, like nothing is impossible, and that's like a really privilege and like a humbling place to be. Like, you can have amazing strategies, but for most of the time, a startup is so resource constrained that you cannot realize them, right? You cannot execute against them, you cannot implement them. But I always feel that at Magic Eden, we can like dream big and go do something. And also like, yeah, inevitably we've had many like lessons and challenges along the way as well. But the team like was willing to stick with us and roll through it and iterate, right? And then help us overcome those challenges. So I think for me, that's that's my biggest reflection. It's actually very humbling. Yeah. I don't know, Sid, what do you think? Yeah.
I mean, he always takes the good one now. But I think
a good answer.
I guess I think for the sake of the podcast, let me come up with the second probably the most important lesson. It's probably like, and this probably combines with like my early experience with crypto as well. It's like, the good times are never as good as the good times seem, but at the same time, the bad times are never as bad as they seem. And you kind of need to like just calm down, stay cool, and just take an average, and then life in crypto would be a lot more just interesting. I used to like just get affected by, oh my god, like like the business can grow 5x all of a sudden, then it can drop, really quickly too. And now I just like, I feel like I'm just so, what's the right word? So zen all the time, Crypto just
meditate
and makes you calm,
Yeah. I feel like you're probably just immune to all the emotional roller coasters that crypto and NFT has taken us through, especially since you've been through so many cycles, starting so early. Yeah, I feel like a lot of OGs are just like, they're chill because they've had that experience. And a lot of the new people coming in now, it's like, oh my God, it's kind of crazy and hectic. I'm going to let Michael ask some questions, but I have one last question as well. Just for somebody that's like in the NFT space right now, maybe they just got into the NFT space like a year ago, and they're kind of like, or maybe like 2 years ago, and they're like, oh my gosh, the bear market, like, is everything going to zero? Am I, is everything done? Like, is it over? And they're just kind of like freaking out and not really sure what the future is going to look like for crypto, for NFTs. What advice would you give to those people? Maybe Sid, we should start with you so you can take the good answer.
Damn
it. I mean, I think that maybe that answer might be a little bit different if you're a builder versus like you are someone that believes in the space. Maybe like I can give something that's a little bit tailored to builders, because like while it can be very demoralizing for someone that believes in the space, for a builder every day it's like even more demoralizing. So I think like maybe the biggest lesson or suggestion for apart from like the good times never as good and the bad times never as bad, is that like in some ways as a builder, I think you need to I got like build for today, position for tomorrow. It's like, or maybe in other words, like you should be like 70% a pragmatist and then 30% you're still a dreamer. And I think what that means is that like I thought about NFT in 2013-14, and when Ethereum came along, I was like, oh my god, games are gonna be on blockchain. And then eventually I got so jaded, it was like, oh my god, this is never gonna happen. And it's actually part of the reason why, like, when NFT took off and Jack called me, I was like, oh my God, guys, this is happening. Like, we've been waiting for 10 years. It's finally here.
Wow.
And so, like, in some ways, like, yeah, like, even if you really believe in this technology is going to enable the future and you're like, truly a dreamer, you also can't be someone that's living in 2030. You have to live in 2022. And so I think that's, probably like the biggest lesson for me. It's like, hey, build for today. But if you forget about tomorrow, if you like stop being a dreamer and crypto moves so fast, we guarantee you in 2024, someone will disrupt you. And you won't be relevant anymore either. So I think that's probably like my lesson. Yeah. What about you, Jack?
No, that was amazing. So yeah, I think like crypto is volatile and like that's just part and parcel with the territory. So like come in and things are like pretty crazy. It goes up and goes down. I kind of think about it like, man, like a couple of years ago, people thought DeFi was really gonna be like a toy, right? Like really small. And before DeFi, people thought that like ERC20s, right? Like building your own token on top of Ethereum was going to be really small. And then before that, people thought that like, okay, smart contracting platform, that's like a myth. And I think like the story for me in crypto is like, it starts really small. It looks like a toy and it looks a little bit like a scam. But if you really believe and you have to take this a little bit of a leap of faith, things just turn out in an unbelievable kind of way, an unbelievable like vibrancy of innovation, of like value, of like opportunities for entrepreneurs and like other folks in the ecosystem. So yeah, sometimes it's pretty scary when like things are so shaky. But because we saw so many cycles, we thought like, man, like sometimes you have to take a leap of faith to get into the ring. And that would be my advice. And stay there, stay in it.
That was great. That's great advice. Thank you, guys. Yeah. Michael?
Yeah. So, well, first, congratulations. I didn't realize you guys were just around for one full year. That's amazing, progress in a year. You guys keep adding things. And I think you've pretty much, the stats more than me, but I'm pretty sure you've dominated the Solana market. Because I remember when I first started hearing about Solana, there were a few marketplaces. I don't hear about any of them anymore. I only hear about you guys. I'm not like an expert on Solana, but that's the truth for sure. I remember when we first started looking at it, they're like, well, you can do this one or that one, but you guys are the ones standing right now. I know there's a lot of rumors out there about possibly a Magic Eden token, and I don't imagine you can give too many details. But I wanted like kind of overarching, if you did one, what would you guys like want it to look like? What do you want it to do? How do you want to reward people? Like just what are your thoughts on a Magic Eden token for whatever you can say or can't say?
Yeah, I definitely can't. I think we can't say too much because it might actually not in some ways. Actually, the truth is, I think a lot of details I don't know, or even if we know today, it might like really change in the future. So it might be very hard to like make those kind of like commitments. But I can talk a little bit more about maybe like philosophically at a product level.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for sure. That's what I figured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this would, I think, extend to like tokens, incentives, and like the actual product itself. So this is not, I wouldn't say like specific to a specific type of incentive. I think like, for Magic Eden, there's a couple of things. Like number one, it was always really important for us to relate to our users at their level, right? And this kind of goes back to the earlier question of like even our social media. Like Sid and I and our other co-founders are not the social media guys. We're like the boomers, like wiring things together. But we also knew that, hey, like to be relevant in the space, you have to engage the users and the community at their level. And they love memes. They love, like the, hot takes and stuff. So we went to specifically find someone like that. And in the sense of like applying to this discussion, like, yeah, folks in crypto, they want to feel that when the users win, the platform wins. And when the platform wins, the users win. They want that kind of incentive alignment. And we want to drive towards that. I think like, the second thing is that it seems like the game is always changing, right? And for example, at the start of Magic Eden, we thought there were only two types of users in the ecosystem. There is only like buyers and sellers. And that's who we should serve. And if we were to have incentives, it should be applied to that. And if we were to build a product around it, it should be applied to that. Then we realized, actually creators is another thing. Like they also have their own role to play in the ecosystem. And then maybe they should also receive some value and they should also be incentive aligned. And now we realize like, actually creators, buyers, sellers are not the only ones. They are also DAOs, right? They are basically like hardcore self-organized groups who are not creators, who are not really traders, but they are true believers in the project, even after maybe the creators have left. And maybe we should also serve that. So whatever we decide in terms of incentives, I think we want to design it in a way that like accommodates everyone in the ecosystem, because then it becomes like in balance and you can like have a true like circular loop in some ways. The last thing I would probably say is now that we've branched out into gaming, we've also realized, okay, gaming is like a whole new beast. And the gaming creators are very different to like the collectible creators. And it will be, as we serve gaming creators, it will also be like amazing for them to also benefit in some ways for their contributions to our ecosystem and how we can give value back to them as well. I would say that like it seems like most of the tokens that's in the market is more like generally very simplistic. It will only choose one type of user and one type of action, and then it will just pour fuel on that. But I think everyone is trying to find the holy grail of something that's sustainable and balanced over time, and I think there's more elements to this that we are also learning about as well on our journey. Yeah.
And why do you so the tokens are obviously to reward your users and stuff. So like obviously like Looks Rare did one and that was popular for a while. Like, do you think you guys need one? Like why do they really do the tokens? Is it a moneymaker? Like really, why would you actually do it?
Yeah, I don't have too many special insights on other platforms. I mean,
right, for sure. It's like the thing to do, I know, but I mean, like, it's just kind of interesting.
I mean, tokens, I can speak maybe more broadly, right? Like tokens is not just like a NFT marketplace thing, and it's not just a Solana thing or Ethereum thing. It's actually a thing across all categories in crypto, like DeFi, wallets, all of them have it. Yeah. It's pretty interesting. Like people use it as number one, like incentive alignment with their users. Actually, number one, I think you're right. People use it to reward their users, right? Basically, like liquidity mining schemes and stuff. Number two, like people use it to align incentives. Like I actually think we actually, know a lot of people from crypto.com. That token, the way that it has like utility inside, you basically have to buy the tokens to get like credit card and so on. It's actually very, very clever, like the way that they have their loop. And it's all about incentive alignment and gearing people to adopt the right kind of products. And then number three, people use it for like competitive reasons, right? The most famous is like SushiSwap, Uniswap, like vamping liquidity and so on. I think there's many different reasons. For us, we are more about, if we were to have any kind of incentives, about like true like incentive alignment with our users. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And I was looking over your website today I've been on there a bunch, but for the first time I was really combing through all the features and stuff. You guys have a really good drop calendar for people to know,
really?
Just like something simple.
Thank you.
Yeah. Even if you're not buying and selling, like you can go to Magic Eden and check it out and see, a whole bunch of stuff that's dropping. There's like 20 of them dropping tomorrow at least.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We also hear other types of feedback about our calendar.
What do people say? You miss stuff? I know how it is.
Like, it missed stuff. It's too dense.
Right. Yeah.
And like the Solana users don't want to see the ETH stuff, and then the ETH.
Oh yeah. Did you laugh because you get a lot of not the best feedback about it? Is that what you guys are?
It's like, dude, thank you so much.
Yeah. Now it's a pleasure. I was looking all through the website today. And one more before I'll turn it back to Jennifer. So like all across the NFT space, we've seen, and I don't know if it's been quite as prevalent recently, but like straight up rug pulls and different things like that. And I know Solana was known for that for a little while when it was first getting popular. What do you guys do to at least, I mean, I know it's almost impossible because you can't vet people, but like, what do you have that in mind? What do you do to at least try and mitigate or try and help people to avoid scams like that?
Yeah, I can take that one. I think, look, this is a super important topic. Rug scams and safety.
Big time.
Yeah, massive. And I think so number one, I think like actually when I think about it, it's an issue that doesn't apply to just like Magic Eden NFTs, but it's like crypto writ large have this problem like of scams and trust and safety. And it's something that like we as an industry all should do to step up, right? And like and improve the experience. And we also try to learn a lot from what other people are doing, not just in the NFT space, but other places. So for us, like we have a couple of principles. Like number one, there is a community involvement aspect, which is it's impossible for us to monitor everything. It's not effective, and we want to harness the power of the community. So when you look at our platform, there's many like types of alerts and flags that users can do to flag potential like misappropriate like behavior, and our team will like quickly then investigate and then like create alerts. Secondly, like in Web3, there is the big DYOR kind of culture, right? And if you look at Magic Eden, we were one of the first platforms that had like a research tab, where then in research you can actually see a lot of analytics and data about these collections that's very, very rare to see in other types of apps. And usually you have to pay for this kind of information. So that is all about DYOR and transparency. And thirdly, yes, for like specific parts of the product, like Launchpad and stuff, we have like some doxing processes as well. So all that to say is we are also like continuously trying to improve this, and we're seeing like what other things in crypto, what other apps in crypto are doing this really well. But I think it's a massive issue, and it's a massive issue that the industry, like overall industry, faces really large. And yeah,
cool.
You guys mentioned gaming a few times, and I'm just curious what you're doing in terms of the gaming space and like what your plans are, what you're working on.
Yeah, I can kick it off. I think like for us, gaming is just another kind of category of like NFTs with its own like type of creators and collectors and players and so on. So for us, we are also trying to help gaming companies. So on the creator side, we're trying to help gaming companies solve some of their most difficult pain points. Number one would be like gaming companies today, they just need to focus on the game. Like gaming as a business model is already really, really hard. It's like hyper hits driven. And most of the time, those gaming companies just want to focus on their content. How do I make a beautiful game that gamers want to play? They don't really want to understand like how to plug the pipes together in blockchain, right? And that's one. And then blockchain is still so new and abstract. A lot of them are in some ways looking for like advice, like a trusted guide in some ways to help them understand the trade-offs of technical decisions, product decisions, community decisions, distribution decisions, and so on. So on the creator side, we want to solve those pain points. So we have like basically a developer product that gaming studio, like gaming devs can use to more easily build on the blockchain and basically build like in-game marketplaces and so on and so forth within the context of their game. And secondly, we have basically like folks who used to be pro gamers themselves, but are now super into NFTs. And they are like partnerships folks, and they help games like think about the distribution strategy, think about like how to be relevant, and think about like partnerships. I think one of the great examples, like even today, we did a launch for Azra Games. Like Azra Games, I would consider one of the premier Web3 games in crypto. They raised money from like A16Z. The founder was a very, very famous founder from who built these like Star Wars games, like millions and millions of players. But they really come from like a gameplay background. And we went to meet them in like Sacramento, where they're based. And they were looking for trusted folks to help them do a launch and build a community, and to like folks who can like, basically I'm kind of repeating myself, but like, folks who can like kind of guide them along the way of like which blockchains are good to use, what are the key trade-offs, how do we think about the market, and so on. So those are the types of services that we provide to our gaming partners.
It's amazing. Yeah, I'm super excited about just NFTs in gaming. Like just the fact that just being able to own like in-game items, like that's just, and I don't know why everyone's like pushing back on that. Like all the gamers right now, they're like, no, we don't want NFTs. And it's like, it sucks that NFTs have this bad, like, I don't know. It just, the mainstream, they don't like NFTs for whatever reason, scams, wash trading, bad for the environment, like whatever their argument is that they say. And it just sucks that they can't, it's like things that would benefit them, like they're kind of like being against it for whatever reason. But, with time, Like Sid had said, like he was waiting in 2013 for NFT gaming to be a thing, right? And it took so long.
I mean, some of these things I think, it can take a while to come because like so many things has to go right. Talent has to be there, capital needs to be there, and then follows like consumer interest. And then when there's consumer interest, then more talent comes and the cycle kind of repeats. But I think one thing in crypto also is just like never underestimate, just like when it comes fast. And so like never try to like plot it on a linear curve because it doesn't extrapolate that way.
Right.
Yeah.
What was I gotta go back to what Jack had like briefly mentioned this, and then it's just like in the back of my mind, so I have to bring it up again. You worked with Vitalik Buterin for a bit, or
no. So we were
okay.
we were on the early library, and they we like I think by the time I joined that library project, Vitalik was already like getting out of the project, and he was already thinking about I think Ethereum, and we essentially. We then like took over the project and then renamed, kind of repurposed the project. Because at that time, like Bitcoin JS was like one big project, like a single project. And then we kind of like, over time broke it into like little pieces and stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And do you guys collect NFTs? Like, do you like collect, or are you mostly just like building in the space?
No, we collect. Yeah. For example, I'm like much bigger on like Solana NFT myself. I'm a D God. I don't know if you heard of D Gods.
It's only the most popular Solana NFT.
Well, I got in when it was really early. I got in when people thought it was like rocks.
Nice. All right, that's a flex.
Yeah, he's definitely flexing right now.
He's like, yeah, not to brag, but I got in like.
He's like, I have 200 of those.
Biggest whale.
Settle down.
But I think there's something magical about kind of being part of this community. Like it becomes kind of part of your like identity. Like it kind of gets into like your nomenclature. You kind of like their memes and this like Twitter group called like Mickey D Walk-In, which is like a particular branch of D Gods, and then like they're all on Twitter, and there's like this like DM group that we're in, and it's just there's something like quite special about being part of a community like that.
Yeah. Jackie, what's your like what's your NFT flex?
No, I don't have too many NFT flexes. I'm personally a fan of a few collections. Like not financial advice and all of that kind of stuff. But I like Auroras. That's what I have as my profile photo, which is like a game on Solana. I've met the founders before. I think they're amazing. Also a fan of like Psychedelic Anonymous actually on ETH.
Oh.
I think they look pretty hardcore. And they were also our first launchpad customer on ETH.
Yeah, for Izu.
Yeah, that's right. So.
Yep.
Actually very grateful that they took a chance on us. So yeah,
I actually have the largest sale in the entire Izu project.
What? No way, really?
I got lucky. I got one of the one-on-ones when it revealed, and
oh wow,
the largest sale. It was cool. It was like this like blue lady with like spirals and stars all around her. It was really cool.
Oh, a blue lady? I've never seen that. I thought they were all like anonymous kind of face.
Well, I mean, she looked like a lady, and she was an anonymous face, but
oh yeah, I'm a big fan. So,
yeah, me too. Not really cool. We had Voltura on, and he was really impressive for sure. We've definitely been fans of that project for a while.
I had my like watch list and everything. I was like trying to get the one that I really really liked, and then waited for like a week, and then couldn't get it. Just had to get something on the market.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so as we're kind of coming to a bit of a close on this episode, Michael, do you have any last minute questions?
Yeah, one thing that I thought of, does Solana have a lot of like independent artists, one-on-one collections, anything like that? Do they, because I know I mostly hear about like the big giant, PFPs or games, but do they have an ecosystem really for like one-on-one artists?
Yeah, they have a bit of an ecosystem. Haven't been like as deep, but we've definitely had some exposure. Like I think John Lay is a very successful one-on-one artist. There are some like
how do you spell? It's John. How do you spell?
AOHN and then LE. And then I think thank you X also did a Solana drop. And we supported them as well. Very grateful for that. And there's definitely a burgeoning scene which is definitely which should exist. I think photography is pretty big as well. We have immutable images. Maybe I'm actually saying that wrong. Is it? But they're like amazing like street photographers. Actually, so with like a lot of history behind those photos. We also support them as well.
And it's kind of interesting. Like we definitely see like immutable image for sure, but definitely there are like other one artists that they do editions, and so like each art, then there are like 500 editions of the same art, and then like that, then even for one artist they're able to build a community around like their art, and I think that's also really cool. I think so like the NFT space is definitely not static. Like even like when you think a category is a mature category, people definitely then find new ways to innovate.
Cool. Yeah, I'm looking at John's stuff right now. He's really cool.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Beautiful. It's definitely beautiful.
Cool. Well, thank you guys. Jennifer, I think, is about to take it out, but it's a pleasure talking to you. And it seems like you're going to be sticking around and doing some awesome things in the NFT space. And I appreciate your answers and your candidness. So good luck with everything in the future, and it'll be exciting to watch.
Thank you very much.
Anything else we should cover before we end this? Jack,
anything you guys want to bring up?
No, I really enjoyed the conversation. Thanks so much for having us on.
Cool. Yeah, you guys were honestly really inspiring. Like I felt very inspired this whole podcast. I hope our listeners also felt inspired because this was a really good episode. Honestly, definitely exceeded my expectations. So thank you guys for coming on the show. And we'll catch everybody in the next episode. Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to the NFT Catcher Podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and learned something new about the exciting world of NFTs. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you really love what you're hearing, please leave us a rating and review on your favorite platform. If you want to stay up to date with the latest news and insights from the NFT space, be sure to follow us on all the socials at NFT Catcher Pod. You can follow Jennifer at Jennifer_pseudo and Michael at NFTicket. I'm your producer, Andy, and I'm at AJC254. Our theme song's by It's Just Los. We always appreciate your feedback and support, which helps us reach more people and bring you informative and engaging content about NFTs. We look forward to bringing you more great NFT content in future episodes. Thanks for listening. Peace.